Hi, this is Dani once again. I'm a 37-year-old woman born and raised in Argentina and currently living in a small town in Patagonia. I've been going around and around for days trying to untangle my thoughts about today's subject, which is finding a sense of belonging. I've come to realize it's something I haven't fully chewed well enough, but it's at the core of not only what I cherish the most in my life, but also what I still need to work and reflect on it profoundly. In the end, the only person we need to feel deep and everything is ourselves, and ourselves only. So, what does it mean to have a sense of belonging? For me, it means to feel and be your most genuine self in a place with a person or group of people with whom you share experiences that are meaningful and caring, and these are consistent, growing, and steady throughout a prolonged period of time. Too much time has passed since the feeling of belonging, and yet it also feels like it never happened, considering that those experiences were in my teenage years and early 20s, and part of a past, less developed and more immature version of myself, like it has never actually happened to my current self. It's a strange feeling that feels foggy but nostalgic as well. There was a period in my life I used to have a group of friends that felt like brothers and sisters, or at least the closest concept I could have about having siblings since I'm an only child. I felt seen and accepted, and there were plenty of experiences shared together. Moments of laughter and being silly, moments of sorrow, celebrations, trips, long conversations, and more. They felt like family. We chose each other for several years. There wasn't a single doubt about our friendship and the permanence of it. I've had other group of best friends who we've shared so much together for many years, but even though I love them and wished the best for them, I never had that sisterhood feeling. I think the difference, now I get to reflect on it, is there was a lack of mutual, warm caring and emotional distance. It's difficult to put into words because it's not that we didn't care for each other, but I think the way we did it was almost like in a cold, robotic, uncomfortable way. I still wish them all the best. Honestly, I don't have all the answers yet, but I do know stability and inclusion plays a huge part in the sense of belonging. My first years of life were full of unstable homes and schools. Lots of moving around with my mom until I was 8 years old. There was also an emotional disconnect I felt from her, since ever. It's hard to say it, but she played a big role in my lack of self esteem, a lack of guidance through important and core aspects of life, like certain social cues and codes, explaining things related to growing up as a teenager and then becoming a young woman. There were many, many conversations missing, and there was no one else around to guide me through all that. She was and felt very lonely, I guess juggling her own emotions and working hard to give myself all the material things. So, I believe the emotional layer and guidance was forgotten and left behind. Yet, I cannot help but think I've mothered myself, if that term even exists, in so many ways across my life. I'm still in that process. Later, when we found ourselves living in what it became our steady home for 15 years, my mom signed me up to a primary school that was a torture for me. I would spend there the worst and one of the most negative and impactful phases of my life, in which I felt rejected, ignored, and abandoned every day, not only by my peers, but also by my teachers and mostly by my mom, who I begged to change me from school several times and it was denied. The fear of rejection and abandonment has overpowered nearly my entire life and has led me to be distrustful from most people. Anticipating disappointment is another one to add to the list. So, there was a stable home and there was a stable school, but there wasn't inclusion. Having stability is great, but if you're being left out or if you've learned to exclude yourself, even though there's a person or a group of people accepting you, you still won't have a sense of belonging. At this point of my life, I can accept my mind works different from a lot of people around me. I've felt it throughout all my life. I have other rhythms, other sensitivity to the world, and other ways to relate. I'm not saying I'm special. To be honest, I find myself to be quite ordinary, but still, there is something about myself I cannot put words into it. Just yet. I also know the environment and upbringing can lead you to one direction or another. What if, in my childhood, I would have had an emotional present mother or bigger family I can count on? A mother or family that encouraged me to do new things, to cheer and lift me up and say nice things to me. What if I was encouraged to have long lasting bonds with other children since a young age, or being sent to activities that developed more my creativity and helped me lose my shyness and introversion? What if I wasn't being told by my mom that people are bad or that true friendships are found in college? And last, what if I wasn't being blamed every time I asked the whys of her behavior towards me and instead being explained? Resentment and understanding towards my mom live together under the same roof every day. can imagine it must be extremely difficult to be a mother and to raise a child alone, and even more to raise more than one. The feeling of resentment is very painful, but simultaneously, I know it was too much for her. She handled it how she could with the tools she had and still has. So, what all this has to do with finding the sense of belonging? Well, I think we always have to go to the roots if we want to understand and move forward in life. I know it can look very different from person to person, but in my case, the fact of first not having a stable home and school, then being severely rejected in childhood, and later becoming extremely sensitive when it happens in life, because rejection is inevitable, plus not being encouraged to have high self-esteem, and having a mom who is emotional absent and or disconnected from me and from people in general, who has difficulties to encourage a family unity, teamwork, or a we are together in life instead of I'm on my own and you're on your own kind of way, led me to either isolate or push people away or be with people that we care for each other. But as soon as things get more difficult, there is no bond repair. Or we're just not aligned in how we get through life. So there's never enough room to make those bonds grow steady in time. Someone always leaves earlier. It's either me or others leaving, with no room left to share meaningful and caring experiences over time. So, I know I still don't have the full picture about this, and it's why I've been trying to unravel my thoughts for days until making this video. There are many questions yet to be answered, but there are also many answers that became affirmations to guide me through this path of discovery about my sense of belonging. These are my unanswered questions. How can I give myself the chance to belong? How can I overcome my deep fear of rejection and lack of trust in people? How can I recognize when someone really cares about me? How can I avoid anticipating disappointment from people so I don't push them away? How can I nurture every single day tasks and activities that brings meaning and help me connect myself to life around me? On the other hand, these are the answers that became guiding affirmations. I belong to be surrounded by nature. I belong to be around animals. I belong in quiet spaces. I belong in my space where I can create and rest and be fully myself in the safe temple that it is my home. I belong to people who are curious about life and ask questions without judgment or hidden intentions. I belong to people who are creative, like to travel, and are, or try to be, in sync with nature and its rhythms. I belong to people who will make an effort to stay and show me they care. I belong to people who don't make me feel like I'm a burden or too difficult or like I have to do things to get their attention in order for them to stay around. I belong to people who will go through uncomfortable conversations and try to repair the bond after a disagreement. There are so many more layers in regards to this subject, but I think I'll leave it here for today. My last question is for you. What makes you feel like you belong in this world and in life? Thank you so much for watching and listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more.